Here we go.
Let's do some prospects, man.
Let's indeed do some prospects, man. This is the baseball show. That, of course, is Ralph Lifshitz, a.k.a. Fantasy Jesus. Not Fantasy Jesus, Prospect Jesus.
Prospect Jesus.
And this is the baseball show right here on Nickel Press TV. This is our favorite episode when we get to talk about prospects, which is something Ralph and I both love. We want to thank everybody that's been watching, tuning in. We are currently the fastest growing fantasy baseball show on YouTube. So please help us continue to make that ascension through the ranks. You can help us do that by watching these videos in their entirety, by clicking a like if you did like the video, by leaving a comment if you didn't like the video, and telling us what you'd like to see us do differently, and most importantly, by subscribing. So if you haven't yet subscribed, please pause the video right now, click subscribe, and then resume playing it. If you don't want to watch the entire episodes and you just want to know specific players we've covered, we're up to in the 70s now, and we're going to keep going 9 a week for as long as we can until drafts start, and then we're going to transition into other stuff. But you can go to our playlist, our player library playlist. We have every player individualized, isolated, on their own, alphabetized. You can scroll through, pick and choose, go at your speed, go at your convenience. And yeah, I think I pretty much explained everything that we need out of you. So now let us give you some information on AJ Reed, Dansby Swanson, and finally Rafael Devers. Now, starting with AJ Reed, Prospect Jesus, I'm not even sure why he's on our prospect list, because he's exceeded his rookie limits. Now, I know you think rookie limits are 130 at-bats and 50 innings pitched for pitchers, but they also include 45 days of service or more, of which he's exceeded. So, regardless, he is still somebody that people consider a prospect because he hasn't really broken out as a pro yet. And really, AJ Reed, where have you gone? Were we just way too early on him, or is he a quad A player who is living in the lap of luxury of the benefits of hitter-friendly minor league parks? I mean, make no mistake about it, he absolutely crushed the year 2015. But 2015 looks like a complete anomaly, having the benefit of hindsight now. He didn't do much before 2015, and he certainly hasn't done much since 2015, despite being given every opportunity to be the Stros first baseman. In fact, his stint in the majors had him striking out at a Miguel Sano type rate. And if you listen to our Miguel Sano breakdown, you'll know what that means. It's not good. I was never a big fan of Reed's to begin with, but you had to give attention after that amazing 2015. And I haven't even mentioned what that stat line was yet. So if, in case you're wondering, over 2 levels, the highest being AA, he accumulated a .333 batting average, 35 home runs, 133 RBI, and 119 runs scored. I mean, that is crushing a season. So, yeah. With all that being said, I mean, is this going to be a guy that's going to fulfill these lofty expectations, or is he indeed going to be the real Crash Davis and set all kinds of minor league records over his career?
You know, I really hope not. And, you know, he ascended relatively quickly through the ranks in the Astros system. He's drafted in 2014, was kind of an afterthought. I think it was a second-round pick out of Kentucky. And he really blew up. You know, obviously 2015 was a great year, myself included, as well as a lot of people had him within their top 10 to 15 prospects heading into last season. It looked like a lock. But, you know, we've seen this before with some highly touted Astros first baseman, John Singleton, to name one in particular. And, you know, the Astros made a few signings with Reddick and Carlos Beltran, you know, Yuli Gurriel. So there's zero chance that he's going to break camp this year with the Astros. Maybe there was too much pressure on him last year. But I do want to say, when he went down to AAA, which is where he had most of his at-bats, 300-plus plate appearances, obviously Tyler White was the one that broke camp. Reed was then called up, didn't do well, went back down. And the Astros, you know, used Marwin Gonzalez and a few other players to fill in for him. But when he was in AAA, he slashed 291, 368, 556 with 15 homers and just under 300 plate appearances. So the numbers were good. They were putrid once he was up in the major leagues. He slashed 164, 270, 262. The number that really sticks out there is the slugging percentage, because this guy is a big, powerful, power-hitting first baseman. He's not a bat speed guy. He's off of that sort of caveman strength and tilt, you know, similar to his Astros teammate, Oso Blanco, you know who I'm talking about. So I mean, he's somebody that I'm guardedly optimistic on still. I think that his price has dropped so much. He's definitely going to be in the minor leagues to start the year. He's somebody you can probably acquire for half of what you acquired him for a year or two back. And I really wouldn't be shocked if he's able to carve out an Evan Gattis type of niche as a power hitter, maybe with a little bit more power even. This guy still looks to me like a 30 home run hitter. He's still young enough that he has some time. I think this year he can kind of get his feet under him. Maybe there's an injury in Houston. He comes up. The pressure isn't the same as it was. You are taking a chance. There are some contact issues there, but he's hit so well throughout his minor league career that, sometimes it's just a blip when a guy comes up at first and he struggles. It happened with Trout. It's happened, with Dustin Pedroia, with a lot of really good major league players. So I'm not ready to totally write off A.J. Reed, and I think that his price has dropped enough now, especially, when he ends up not breaking camp with the Astros, that you should be able to acquire him, and he's a good wait and see in dynasty leagues.
Yeah, as I mentioned, I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of his to begin with. I didn't think he did anything that was stellar. You mentioned he is a college hitter, so that was the reason why people were thinking, okay, maybe this could be real. He's advanced in his approach. But not every prospect does what we think they're going to do and does what we want them to do. No comparison to their game, but Will Middlebrooks just came to mind as a guy that everybody was sure was going to be a hit and just turned out to not be a very good major league player. I can see something similar to that with A.J. Reed. As you said, I hope that that's not the case because I don't wish, ill on anybody. But, moving on.
I just say I hope A.J. Reed is able to bag a beautiful, beautiful wife like Jenny Dell, because that's the greatest thing that Will Middlebrooks has ever done. If you haven't seen Jenny Dell, please go check her out. Beautiful woman. Middlebrooks is also really good when he came up. Middlebrooks set the world on fire for his first few months and then fell off a table. So maybe, just maybe, A.J. Reed can have the opposite trajectory.
Okay. Well, I also wanted to say, I did not mention or bring up Harry Lifshitz, who flamed out after his brief achievements in the Dominican Summer League, and I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it if we left Jonathan Singleton off of the docket. Let's move on. We've spent more than enough time on A.J. Reed, who doesn't even qualify as a prospect, and we're talking about it on a prospect show. So going to Dansby Swanson, I legit love this guy. And I played out my own Braves scenario when I stole him this Christmas season in one of my own dynasty leagues. He was the number one overall pick in the 2015 draft. He was billed as the most advanced college bat at the time, only to now be outshadowed by Alex Bregman and Brendan Rodgers, amongst others. Enough. This guy is really good. I mean, he's even been compared to the biracial angel Derek Jeter. And you better cross your T's and dot your I's before you make that kind of a statement. Now, do I think he's the next Jeter? Not even close. And I am referring strictly to the stats here because, there's countless other worldly things the captain has done that just nobody can compare to. So speaking of just stats alone for Dansby Swanson, he's got a great baseline. He's likely to meet that this season. And basically what he is likely to meet this season is what his career stat line will probably look like. His career averages, I should say. I mean, he's that far ahead in his game, and it's not going to be anything stellar. He's not going to be a 30 home run guy. He's not going to be even a 30 steal guy. He's just going to contribute plenty to every category, and it's going to be somebody, that you're not going to want to dive off a cliff for, especially at the shortstop position, which is suddenly deep and glamorous. But he's a guy that when you see him on, making web gems every other night on SportsCenter, and then you look at the stat line and he went 2 for 4 with, a run scored and a steal and, maybe a couple home runs a month or something like that. It's going to all add up to a player that you're going to want on your team, if nothing less than to root for. So am I too on the Swanson train, or are you feeling the love and the hype that I'm throwing his way?
I'm feeling the hype and the love. The more I watch of Swanson, the more I like him. I was very sort of guarded about what he could possibly be because I thought that Bregman and Benintendi, I know you said Brendan Rodgers. I'm assuming you didn't say Benintendi because you just forgot. Now, how could you forget Benny with the good hair? But we won't even get into that. We got Dansby with the good hair.
Others. I said amongst others.
He's not amongst others, man. He's the god. We know that with Benintendi. Go back, you watch my Benintendi video, you know how I feel about him. But I think you hit the nail on the head with Swanson. This guy has intangibles. That's usually why he gets the Derek Jeter comps. People say he's a natural leader, yada, 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 all that sort of stuff. We don't care about that for fantasy. What we care about are the numbers. He's a 280 to 300 hitter. He's going to have a good on-base percentage. He's got, 15 homer pop in the bat. Maybe he gets up to 20 as his career progresses. I think he's got, more power than I think a lot of people are selling him. And he's a 15 steal guy or so. He could steal more bases if he gets the green light enough. The thing with Swanson is he's a very conservative base stealer. He picks his spots. He's not somebody to just run wild, but he has the wheels that he could steal 20 to 25 bases. Whether he'll do it or not, we'll see. But he's a very good across-the-board baseball player. He's going to stay in the lineup on a daily basis. He's the future of the Atlanta Braves organization, and they brought him up for a reason last year, opening the new park. I'd be shocked if he's not their everyday starting shortstop. I like Swanson a lot, and I think that where he's going in drafts, he's somebody that you can steal even in redraft. I stole him actually in our dynasty league that we were drafting last week. Was more than happy to grab him. And I think that he's a little bit undervalued right now because I think people don't necessarily know what to make of him. But Swanson's a good one.
Yeah, I agree. He's a baseball player. He's got a baseball player's name.
Oh, yeah.
In this era, the kind of production that's being projected for him is seen as not enough, especially at the shortstop position, which we've constantly mentioned is loaded right now and only getting deeper. That is a mistake, and why it is possible for you to get him even in a dynasty league, as I was able to do, and as Ralph just mentioned, he was able to do. So do yourself the favor and start doing your due diligence and see what you can poke around and get him for, because it's possible to get him. And you really should be treating yourself to a guy like Dansby Swanson, especially in
Treat yourself.
Dynasty. Treat yourself, yes. All right, let's go to Rafael Devers, who, enough is enough already. How much talent can one organization possess? I am tired of seeing the Boston Red Sox roll out one major prospect after the other. So as such, I'm going to point out the flaws with Rafael Devers, a.k.a. the next Red Sox to emerge. And then I'm going to let Prospect Jesus try to defend his hometown system. Now, while the numbers may look encouraging, he's only progressed to high A ball to this point, which makes you wonder, why have the Sox been so cautiously patient with him to this point? He played a full season at A ball, then he played a full season at high A. There was no jump to double A yet. So makes you wonder, is this something we don't know? He's shown decent pop. He's homered 11 times each of the last 2 years. But is there room to think that he's really a thumper, or is he kind of, in that teen range as far as power potential? He stole just 13 bases in 268 combined games prior to the 18 he swiped in just 128 games last year. So where did all that speed come from? Is this just an aberration, or is this something, a newfound skill in his tool bag? While the average looks good to this point at 293 as a career minor league hitter, and while he doesn't strike out at a tremendous rate either, he also doesn't draw a ton of walks. So how good is that plate discipline? How good is Devers really? I want you to tell me, Mr. Boston.
Well, sure. And I think the thing that you're throwing out there when you're talking about, the full season at high A, which was an aggressive assignment, season at A ball, rookie level. He was 19 last year. He just turned 20 at the end of October. He was 18 in his full A season, and he was 17 as a rookie in rookie ball. He had some growing pains in the first 2 months. And as I said, he was a 19-year-old in a pitching league, and was probably the third or fourth wheel on that Salem team. He had Moncada in his lineup. He had Benintendi in the lineup. He also had Mauricio Dubon, who had an excellent breakout season in Salem and then in Double A before he was moved for Tyler Thornburg. But if you isolate his season after June 1st, the other guys moved on. He became the guy in the middle of the lineup. He settled in a little bit, as I said, let's call him growing pains. From there until the end of the season, he slashed 332, 372, 522, with 8 homers. I don't think he's ever going to be an on-base machine. He's certainly more of a bat-to-ball contact guy, but he's always going to hit for a high average. He does have pop in the bat. I think he's probably more of a 5 or a 6 hitter than a 3 hitter, but I think he's relatively safe. He's a hit tool guy. He's not that different from Nomar Mazara. He's just not as athletic as Mazara is. You can see he's got a little bit of a soft bad body, but he has improved in a lot of different areas of his game, including his play at third base. I think he ends up sticking there long term. He's an interesting one. He's not all that far away from the major leagues when you consider he's only 20 years old. He should see Double-A this year, and I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up having a cup of coffee in Boston sometime in September. Especially if Pablo Sandoval doesn't end up sticking. But with Sandoval, only with a couple of years left on that, I think 2 or 3 years left in that contract now, Devers could be the guy, ready, waiting in the wings when he's 21, could be up in Boston playing a full-time role. He's certainly a top 25 hitting prospect. I don't think there's too many people that are going to doubt that. But if he can improve his on-base skills a little bit, and, continue to progress with the power. Like I said, he's only 19 years old. The sky could be the limit. I'll usually cap him probably as like a 280 hitter, 25 home runs, and probably hitting in, 5th or 6th in the lineup. I don't think he's a 3 or a 4 kind of a bat, as some people have put him.
So is it fair to say that his progression kind of paved the way for Moncada to be expendable as a trade chip? If you're going to
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. I think that, coupled with the fact that Pablo has really put in the work this year, he showed up to camp with, down 40, 50 pounds, as we had seen in the updates throughout the offseason. He was able to keep it off all the way to spring training. We'll see if he continues to work like that. I think that they have the bridge for the next couple of years until Devers is ready to come up and play a full-time role.
All right. Well, you got it from the hometown reporting of Prospect Jesus, a.k.a. Red Sox reporter, Mr. Ralph Lifshitz. Rafael Devers, the name you need to know in your dynasty leagues. Probably get him in a fair offer. I think he's owned probably 90% of leagues, depending on how deep you go. But it's somebody you should be looking to target before he makes what Ralph predicts will be a continued ascension to the Double-A ranks in 2017. We hope you enjoyed what we had to share with you this week, today on this Prospect Edition. Again, this has been the Baseball Show. I'm Andy Singleton. That's Ralph Lifshitz. Please continue to show your support by finding us whatever social media outlet you use and subscribing to the channel, hitting the like button, going to the playlist, going back and looking at our old episodes or any player in our player library that we've covered that we have broken up and isolated on their own. We're going to wrap things up, and that'll do it. So thanks again. This has been the Baseball Show on Nickel Press TV. We'll see you next time.
Peace.